The haunting saga of Lee Malvo captivated the nation with its sinister blend of fear and mystery. But as the dust settled and the headlines faded, many are left wondering, where is Lee Malvo now? Come with us as we uncover the latest twists in the life of one of America's most infamous criminals. The tale of Malvo remains one of the most chilling chapters in American history, as a key figure in a crime that gripped the nation in 2002. Malvo's story intertwines with themes of fear, manipulation, and the search for justice. But where is he now? The answer to that question uncovers a complex journey through the legal system and reveals new dimensions to a case that continues to captivate and disturb society.
And evening activities are canceled. Students are to leave at dismissal in your cars and buses and go directly home.
At the time, I had just become a mother to two young kids, a first grader and a third grader. And the terror in Maryland, D.C., and Virginia during that time.
Boyd Malvo has been moved out of a Virginia Supermax prison. That's according to the Virginia Department of Corrections. The 39-year-old is now at Keene Mountain Correctional Center. That's about 50 miles east of Red Onion State Prison, where he was previously held. We are making calls right now to find out why Malvo was transferred, but you might remember he was denied parole about 2 years ago. Malvo and John Allen Muhammad, they killed more than a dozen people in that series of sniper attacks across our region.
38-year-old Lee Malvo is a far cry from the young criminal who once gripped the nation with fear. Now, he sports glasses, has put on weight, and visibly shows the passage of time. Lee Boyd married a wealthy trust fund baby and activist who donated thousands of dollars to Bernie Sanders. Sable Noel Knapp is the granddaughter of a wealthy Iowa real estate developer. She is also an outspoken activist who has donated hundreds of thousands of dollars to left-wing causes. Malvo connected with the heiress back in 2018 when she first wrote him in prison. The pair started meeting a short time later. If you're enjoying the video, don't forget to like and subscribe. In August 2023, Malvo filed a federal lawsuit accusing prison officials of violating his constitutional rights and knowingly putting his life at risk in retaliation for complaining about conditions at Red Onion. Malvo said he was also placed in a unit with a known gang leader who had threatened him.
The man serving a life sentence in prison for his role in the 2002 sniper spree that terrorized Washington, D.C. is now a married man. Officials confirm Lee Boyd Malvo married a woman earlier this month at Red Onion State Prison in Virginia. Rules in Virginia regulate inmate weddings. Witnesses and guests are restricted to a maximum of 6, and refreshments must be from the prison vending machines.
Will remain behind bars. New details on this are coming into our newsroom. Adam Longo is there to fill us in. Ads, what have you learned?
All right, so Leslie, this month marks 20 years since the reign of terror unleashed by the deadly D.C. sniper duo John Allen Muhammad, who was executed in 2009, and Lee Boyd Malvo, who was 17 years old at the time. Now, because of his age and new sentencing guidelines regarding juveniles, Malvo actually became eligible for parole this year. He's been locked up, of course, since 2002, the last 8 years at Red Onion State Prison in Southwest Virginia. The Virginia Parole Board, not sympathetic. After reviewing his 4 life sentences, they concluded, quote, release would diminish seriousness of crime. Now, the argument is largely academic because even if Malvo was paroled in Virginia, Maryland authorities would be waiting to scoop him up to begin serving his murder convictions in Montgomery County. And there's another hook to that part of the story. Maryland's Supreme Court has ordered a resentencing hearing for Malvo because of the whole juvenile convicted offender thing, and that hasn't been scheduled yet. And keep this in mind, too. Malvo never stood trial for killings that happened in other states prior to the Beltway sniper siege. Leslie?
All right, Adam, thank you.
Maryland's highest court ruled that Lee Boyd Malvo must be resentenced because he was a teen at the time of the crimes.
Malvo be returning to Montgomery County. Malvo is being held in Virginia in a prison there, but a U.S. Supreme Court order to have him resentenced was the subject of a complicated hearing in a Montgomery County courtroom.
That's right. Fox 5's Tom Fitzgerald monitored what happened today. Fitz, why is Malvo getting resentenced?
Yeah, and that's a key question in all of this. The reason is back in 2012, the U.S. Supreme Court ruled that it was unconstitutional to sentence a juvenile to life without the possibility of parole. Now, Malvo was 17. He was sentenced to life without the parole. And even though he is 38 years old now, it was because he was sentenced as a juvenile that this resentencing will happen. The question today is how and when will it happen? Montgomery County State's Attorney John McCarthy told the court today there are several logistical and legal complications in sorting it all out. That includes security considerations and agreements between Virginia and Maryland's governors. The prosecutor who originally convicted Malvo, former Montgomery County State's Attorney Doug Gansler, tells Fox 5, even with resentencing, Malvo will never get out of prison. So the question today is, does he have to be inside a courtroom for this resentencing?
The question is it necessary? I mean, in other words, a judge is supposed to assess his maturity, assess his capacity, assess his sort of remorse, if you will. And in this case, that can be done by video conference or it can be done in person. So that was today's issue, whether or not he needs to be here in person for that resentencing.
Now, Fitz, you actually got to see Malvo on a video link today. What did he look like?
I tell you, it was a little strange. I had not seen Leigh-Boyd Malvo's face in quite some time outside of those mugshots we've had. He's older. He's heavier. He wears eyeglasses now. He was clad in a yellow prison suit from his cell in a maximum security prison in Virginia, but he did not speak throughout these proceedings today while the attorneys spoke with the judge about exactly how they will proceed. And this is an open question right now. We still don't know.
Do you know if any of the victims' family members were able to weigh in? Did they speak?
They were not at this hearing today. However, John McCarthy, the current Montgomery County State's Attorney, did speak on their behalf, Angie. And what he said was that he has dealt with these victims for years. Remember, John McCarthy was on that prosecution team back in 20 years ago. He said to a person, the victims' families do not want to have to relive another resentencing in a courtroom with Malvo. But it appeared also clear from what the judge had to say, she is leaning towards actually having him physically in the courtroom and not doing this on Zoom.
Wow, yeah, we know decades have gone by, but for those families impacted by this, we know the pain and the hurt.
Every day.
It doesn't get easier.
Never get a sense of closure.
In 2021, Chief Charles Moose, who helmed the Montgomery County Police Department when authorities arrested the D.C. snipers, died. The 68-year-old passed on Thanksgiving.
Former Montgomery County Police Chief Charles Moose has died. He was 68 years old. Moose served during one of our area's most terrifying times, leading the investigation into the D.C. sniper attacks. New at 11, News 4's Jackie Benson talks with those who knew Moose about those harrowing few weeks back in 2002.
So he was a compassionate man, but he showed a lot of strength to the public.
Longtime Montgomery County community activist Greg Wims worked closely with Chief Charles Moose during those days of terror in October 2002. He witnessed firsthand the desperate effort to stop the sniper shootings that killed 10 people and left 3 others critically injured in Maryland, Virginia, and the district. Wims remembers seeing Moose's composure, a reflection of his time in the military, shaken only one time.
But these shootings really affected him. And when the young boy over at Bowie was shot, he and I both choked up a little as we kept trying to go to help all those victims.
In an interview years later for the National Law Enforcement Museum, Chief Moose spoke of what turned out to be an erroneous presumption in the case, the sniper's getaway vehicle. Based on witness accounts early in the investigation, police continued to disseminate images of a white box truck, even though a blue Chevrolet Caprice was seen leaving one of the later shootings.
Early on, we had a citizen report that they saw a white van driving quickly away from the scene of one of these shootings. And once we went down the path of reporting that, we committed to saying that we're not going to dismiss this citizen input.
Chief Moose was hailed as a hero for his role in heading the investigation that led to the capture of John Muhammad and Lee Boyd Malvo. But only 1 year later, he resigned from the department. It followed a disagreement with Montgomery County regarding a policy that barred him from writing a book.
The youngest survivor of their crimes feel blessed to still be here and realized how precious life is. Aron Brown is looking forward to meeting Malvo one day.
I feel great and am looking forward to picking up my life where I left off.
That was 13-year-old Aron Brown months after he'd been shot in the Beltway sniper spree. This is Brown today, 20 years after a bullet nearly took his life outside his middle school in Prince George's County.
I'm very thankful and blessed to still be alive. And I definitely, look at life as more precious than before.
Brown was a 7th grader at Benjamin Tasker Middle. His aunt had just dropped him off that morning when he heard the blast.
We maybe took a couple steps, and then I just heard this loud bang. And my aunt, she put the car in reverse and picked me up. And we went to the closest medical clinic.
Brown says he was shot once in the upper body with a hollow point bullet, still suffers from nerve damage.
When it pierced me, it broke into a bunch of pieces. So I still got fragments inside of me to this day.
He, his family, and his doctors say his aunt's quick actions helped save his life.
What happened to my son is a mother's worst fear. But in a lot of ways, we're lucky and we have a lot to be thankful for.
The shooting marked the first time the snipers had targeted a child, heightening fears. If they were willing to shoot at a school, was anyone safe?
Obviously crossed the line for good reason. They wanted to get the media's attention, and they wanted to, attack the most vulnerable.
I remember reporting on Brown's shooting in Chopper 4. Schools in the D.C. area stopped having recess and other outdoor activities. Brown says he wondered before he was shot why that hadn't already happened.
And I even remember saying to the physical education teachers, why are we still going outside? Even me being so young, I was aware that the snipers were in the area.
Brown says he lives with anxiety, but focuses on being grateful he survived. He does have lingering questions. Why was he shown mercy?
And Muhammad actually told him to shoot me in the head, but for whatever reason, he chose not to. So that was actually one of the many questions that I would like to ask Malvo if I ever got that opportunity.
John Allen Muhammad got the death penalty. Lee Boyd Malvo, who was 17 at the time, got multiple life sentences.
He had the opportunity to run away. He had an opportunity to turn a gun on Muhammad. He had an opportunity to, they'll be in public and, alert the police. Anything.
As we reflect on the story of Lee Malvo, it's clear that his past actions have traumatized countless victims' lives and families. Malvo's incarceration may offer closure for some, but the shadow of his actions continues to linger. Thank you for watching. Don't forget to like and subscribe.